Okay, it's 5:22 a.m. And I wrote this out because they keep removing some of the details. So what happened was, oh, it's November 11th. It's Veterans Day. 5 a.m. Veterans Day. They blacked out the fields on my phone so that I couldn't move videos. What I was doing was I was organizing an old SD card that had videos on it from like July, August, probably September, and creating folders for specific topics so that I could add them on Facebook, because as you know, they're keeping me from uploading on YouTube right now. They've been interfering with that for about a week or so to support suggestions. I told you they're acting like events that took place last year are taking place now. So everything that happened, like with me being homeless, me being on the floor right now supports that suggestion. It makes it easy for them to manipulate the footage that they capture of me sleeping. They keep claiming that I'm at Suma Hospital. They're also claiming that when they conspired against me, that took place recently. With the police officer, the doctor, and the judge. They're suggesting that all those things took place this year. And these people that they're suggesting, these aliens that they're programming to think this way, don't know that I'm in an apartment. They don't know. So anyhow, but they've been making these suggestions to the lower tier to support tales of schizophrenia. So they're still lying on me and trying to claim that I'm mentally ill. And those videos, as I was going through them, it was leaving them with nothing. Excuse me. It was leaving them with nothing to manipulate. The videos, as I was reviewing the videos, all of them were, well spoken, and they always make sense. So that's another reason that they interfered with that and locked it up so that I couldn't continue. I only worked on it for about a little over an hour. But I told you that they've been trying to. Oh, this all started with Save a Lot. I went to Save a Lot yesterday. A lot happened yesterday. I went to the day before yesterday, the 9th. They're fatiguing my arm right now. People cannot have access to your body like this. But it all started with Save a Lot. I told you that I informed somebody that I was crisis mother while I was there. The security guard did some weird stuff, but she's irrelevant. And I didn't make a video about it or, give it anything. So one of the agents, when he interfered, when they blocked it, one of the agents, like, that doesn't speak often, he showed up with a demand. And his demand was that he wanted me not to do any work at home. He wanted me to not do nothing. They also said that if I stopped going to the library, that they were going to shut it down, because they were looking at how occupied I could keep myself, how busy I'm able to stay. I don't have anything to do, though, now at home, now that the complaint is complete. So I'm being proactive by organizing these videos so that I can get some of them out. I went off when he made that demand, because I'm like, who in the fuck would ever, do what a Satanist asked of them? So they wanted me to sit idle and stop setting off alarms, because I told you, the aliens in the area, the agents in the area, they're able to hear what my conversation was like. The aliens, those that are just occupying the bodies, they're able to hear and pick up on what my conversation is like, and it drives them nuts. So as they hear what my conversation is like, it keeps them from being able to pull off the lies and the suggestions. Like I said, everything that I say makes perfectly good sense. But the lies and suggestions that they're trying to pull off are those that would fool or manipulate another agent into harming my family. So these agents, you know, when they show up, they when they show up where I'm at, they what is it, like I guess you could say probe, like, so the library is a place for them to probe. When I show up there, they listen to what I'm saying and see what I'm working on. But that ain't the only place that, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're government agents. Like, they doing the same thing they doing. So, and I try not to get into that because it's a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the little tidbits that I pick up on from their conversation, that's all bullshit. Like, in hindsight, but so many bits and pieces are being removed, I don't even want to get into it. So, yeah, that was the thing with the demands. While I was using the restroom, after that took place, I went and I used the restroom. After or during the restroom break, I had an internal dialogue. And they blocked my bowel. They blocked my bowel movement and manipulated how much I could expel to piss me the fuck off. At this point, I'm still not angered though, but I returned to the floor, my bedroom floor, and all the yelling they were doing began to set in, and I resorted to putting in earplugs, which is something that I never do. They were yelling through the earplugs. So they started talking about the demon that I mentioned the other day. Not while I was at the transit. I didn't mean to say that like that. The demon that I mentioned the other day while I was at the transit. I made a quick video about it, about how it was dirty and it was filthy, and that you have to see it, and that I intended on showing you. And I don't know her, but I know of it because I stayed at her grandfather's house in between stays at Terry House. So this is around the time of the year last year that was going on. I stayed at his place for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, in between my 2-week stay at Terry House. And they're trying to manipulate me into embarrassing it before it's time via video. But that's another time. That's another time. But for days they've been mentioning her name. And I've been done with the video review since about 12:35. Like I said, it's almost 5:30 a.m. now. And they also got mad because I set an alarm for 6:45. I told you it's Veterans Day, and I have that day planned out. Yesterday I planned it. Other locations or restaurants that I was going to go to for Veterans Day's freebies. So they have the plays to my playbook and have been threatening to mistreat and inconvenience. The first one, being mistreated, is not going to happen. I'm not tolerating that. I never do. The second is inconvenience. That would mean that they say something like, it's dine-in only, which they've done in the past. They know when I'm calling. So when I call in to order and I ask them if they're supporting or participating in Veterans Day freebies, sometimes, they make sure they get the call and they'll have them reject me. They'll have them tell me that it's dine-in only. And ever so often, like I called into that years ago, and I call back, like, and just, give it a second try. And they'd be like, yeah, no problem. But when they get the phone, they got these motherfucking coverts in place turning particular people down. The past, it's calling. So, they go on and they go on and go on. And now it's about 3 a.m. and I've reached an extreme amount of anger and rage. Like, I just want to kill them all right now. And as usual, the females were the worst, saying and doing the most. I began visualizing how badly I was going to hurt them. So, but they're so fucking stupid that they were trying to manipulate it by suggesting that it was about the identities that they're using. I told you, they're not using their own, these agents, while they're doing this remote harassment, they're not using their own identities. They're using the identities of those that are around you. You know, those people that you come in contact with, those people that you haven't come in contact with. Say, for example, like, my family's not a good example. I haven't seen them in about a year. So that's not an identity they would use. It'd be more like someone that maybe I haven't seen in a month. For example, like Save a Lot. I hadn't been down there in almost a month. So these are the type of places, you know, that they try to keep you from showing up at, so that they can keep them under that suggestion and they don't find out otherwise. Suggestion about the identities they're using. Yeah, so it's the identities that you're using. So now for about 2 hours though beforehand, I've been reciting in variation, like, y'all are genetic engineers. See what they just did? Like, y'all are genetic engineers, Satanists, manipulating reality with lies. Other statements were real simple, like, parallel reality is a lie, and I'm the Holy Spirit. And but they went on and on and on and on. The faggots even chimed in. I call their males faggots and I call their females zoo rats. Like, they're trifling. The most disgusting fucking filth on earth. That's what these agents are. And so, but the faggots tried to reach them by pointing out what they were doing. So after I showed how bad it will be, they began to strangle the clone as they intensified what it felt like, some sort of sore throat, like disease that they had, some sort of reaction that they did to the clone. Like, the clone, I told you before, is in bad shape. And this throat thing that it has, that I'm not able to detect ever until they make it noticeable, is from giving fellatio. They have the clones suck a lot of nasty dick. And yeah, but they begin to intensify it. So my neck, like, it's real hot right now, and it's in real bad pain. It trickled up a little bit onto the left side of my face, and for a short while there, my eye even began to hurt. It brought about, from the choking, it brought about a slight headache, but my head was on the verge of exploding at the same time. But it was like two separate things, you know, a slight headache and your head feeling like it's on the verge of exploding. It's now painful when I swallow. And like I said, it's a manifestation of the lies that are taking place in parallel reality. They're discussing how others were going to know they've been keeping me up for no reason. I made a Twitter post like probably 3 nights ago, around 3 or almost 4 a.m. And I was talking about that. They keep saying, no, because she sleep in these other places. When they say that I'm sleep in this other place, that means that they have the clone sleep. And you know, the clone's heart has been removed. So it's under suggestion. It's being programmed like a possessed individual would be programmed, which means that, you know, they can manipulate the dreams, the sort of dreams that the clone has. And they're doing that to keep other agents from seeing my dreams. They keep me up and allow the clone to sleep so they can manipulate what's being seen. My dreams are a dead giveaway. When I sleep, you know who I am. They discussed how they were going to know. Oh, the Twitter post. So like I said, this is like the 5th or 6th night. This is the 5th or 6th night this has been going on. And it's always this sort of cycle when they're trying to hide my identity from someone and trying to get someone to you know, keep someone under an impression that they have no business being under. And keep me in a dimension that I have no business being in. They also mentioned that they were going to know. They were saying they're going to know we put her mom in the hospital for no reason. They were talking about me, but using my mother's name and identity out of context. If I find out otherwise, more aliens are going to die like right away. As soon as I'm in my official position, I'm going to kill a bunch of fucking aliens behind it. So for their own sake, they should hope it's false. They made a lot of suggestions and threats while this was going on. Like I said, I was done at 12:35. Is what my log said. It's 5:30 a.m. That's a lot of dialogue, non-stop. It's a lot of dialogue, non-stop. I told you what I was reciting to combat it. So lots of them all at the same time. None of the threats and suggestions were heard in its entirety. You know, I catch a bit or a piece as usual, but none of it was heard. Nothing was interpreted, you know, so there's not a script of me interpreting anything that they could use. They have nothing. So they keep saying we have to take this stuff off her because they talk without being, because they were talking without being heard, and applying attacks to the nervous system, attacks to the energy center, is all unjustifiable. So this dogma, that dialogue that went on for all those hours, for example, all the words, like the reckless words that were thrown at me, they were acting as if it was not being combated. While I told you the entire time what I was doing, you know, I say whatever I was saying the entire time. And yeah, they act like it wasn't being heard and was applying pain. And there's no telling what else they were doing to the mind. Because like I said, they were attacking the nervous center, the nervous system, and the energy centers as well. So the pain is just one element of it. The mind is another. Before it was my back. Like before this whole thing started, while I was working on the videos and stuff, they've been at my back all day long. Actually, I cooked, and it took me 8.5 hours because I have a pot and 2 pans. Like, it takes a long time to cook with nothing. Before that, oh yeah, so they were attacking my back and stuff. There's nothing to fuel their lies. But since they're hating amongst themselves, unmonitored, there's no way to intervene other than documenting it. They're saying that this demon, that female that I was talking about, the demon, has a disease. She's had many, but they're saying that she has a disease. And they want me, someone who's doing nothing, to have her karma because of their hate for me. They show up and they pose at her, and you know, they do all kind of stuff. And their hate for me is what they were trying to do. They were trying to apply her karma, her spiritual filth, her nastiness to me. And you know, like if I went and found her and have killed her, because that's where I'm at with all the demonic entities, I have to sit in jail too long. But furthermore, it's not the identity that I want. You know, it's not about her. She's irrelevant. Just like I said, the guard was irrelevant. She's in the same category as the guard. And, but it's what's physically tangible right now. You get what I'm saying? Like, all the attacks are being done remotely. They're orchestrating all this stuff from remote locations, and labs. So at the moment, I want and will show. Oh, tangible. It's only what's tangible at the moment. But I want and I will soon have the agents that are behind it all. It's never about the identities that they're using as much as it is those who are responsible. Like I said, I want and will have those agents soon. But imagine this. Imagine if I were to see it. If I were to see that demon. Imagine if I were to see it and it's under that suggestion. You know, that it escaped its destiny, you know, by having demonic ties. It will look and carry itself as if it got over, and I can't have that. Right now, one of the agents is discussing how he told them that he put me in this dimension so that I wouldn't be able to look at them the same way. And they're going to find out. He doesn't want me going to sleep because if I go to sleep, they're going to find out that I look at them the same way either way. So this, he told him that if he kept me from resting, that it would change the way that I looked at them when I came across aliens. So often you see situations like this with the government surveilling and gang stalking people. They often show up. I told you a large group of the mental illness, like that. Those are government agents. So in my case, they'll show up on them. You find situations like this where they're sitting side by side, the target and the agent on the bus. You can imagine, I haven't had sleep. Let me turn around so you can see me. Oh, ouch. I just came from Denny's. And it was actually the one place that I planned on sitting in and eating. But they had such a long wait that I ended up asking for it to go. When I asked for it, the lady was short and unwelcoming. As you can imagine, I got a lot of looks and stares from the customers and those entering the door. Then I went and I sat down and I started like watching one of my videos. And I started watching one of my videos. And she comes out and she gives me the bat, but she's like, you know how someone has an attitude, but they're trying not to act like they got an attitude? Anyhow, as soon as I left, they started harassing me about it. They started harassing me about the female at Denny's. I'm at Giant Eagle right now. I intended on recording the encounter, but like I said, the wait was so long that it just kind of, escaped me. So yeah, this is where they're talking about how people are going to know that they're watching me suffer. They were saying a lot of stuff, though, a lot of disrespectful stuff that I wanted to repeat. And they're not allowing me to get the thoughts. They're not allowing me to get them. And as soon as I stop this video, they're going to release and all of them will come. Okay, so imagine this is my arm. Imagine this taking place, me squeezing it. When they get off, when I say they got off or they get off, this is what I mean. It's a tight restraint, and they'll go like this. And you feel it slowly ease off. when I leave a place, after they seen me after the attacks, they were talking about how she was going off about my tooth. About who the fuck is able to look at people the same way and they're missing a tooth. So, but they'll say she's getting off of her. It's the same motherfucking people using somebody else somewhere else. Like, that's, I'm not gonna get, I said I wasn't gonna get into that part. So they'll get off. On my lower back, that's what just happened. Sometimes it's my neck, sometimes it's my shoulder, sometimes it's my waist. They're all over me. They're all over me. And they very seldom get off. And when they do, it's not for long. A couple seconds, they get right back on. PetSmart. And the bitch had the nerve to say, see, she was doing the same thing. I looked at Klein's. Okay, I'm at Big Lots now. But look, I just left PetSmart. I'm going to go backwards. PetSmart, then Starbucks. Okay, so I was at PetSmart, and as I leave, I was kind of like looking at the, it's like a dog hospital next door. Klein's. And I just took notice of it. And that bitch was they were trying to see, because what's been going on lately is they keep talking about how they keep erasing thoughts and they can't believe that I'm able to recall certain things. So they were talking about she said, see, she did the same thing for Diesel that she did for Buttercup. I said, no, bitch. I had to take Diesel to doggy hospital twice because y'all was hurting him. Y'all was taking my damn dog while I was at work and hurting him. One time he had a limp out of nowhere. And the other time, what was it for? I can't recall what the second time was for. Okay, so once. They hurt him once. But I just recall going to the little doggy hospital twice. When I went the second time, it was for me to see how I could get his chip installed. I had a tracker on him. I mean, had a tracker for him. Okay, before that, I went to Starbucks. This eyebrow is off. Went to Starbucks. While I was at Starbucks, I hate aliens. I really do. While I was at Starbucks, you know, the girl, let me tell you, when I came in, she was like real perky, real up-tempo or whatever. Real perky and up-tempo. And I ended up getting a sample because they had some flavors that I wasn't familiar with. And so I'm trying to cool the coffee off, and I just go and I have a seat or whatever. While I have a seat, of course, after, no different than after every and any other. Most of the time, I told you I don't have any encounters. So it's normally about people that I'm just passing by. They talk about random people that I pass by, like in passing. But in this particular case, we actually had a little bit of, we had to go back and forth about the coffee. So I'm sitting down and they're talking about it. And I'm like, no, I want to see that change. Because, like, she's not able to be that motherfucking happy. That's a mockery of our expressions. So I'm sitting there and I'm cooling the coffee off. And I have a little bit of sip or whatever. And then I go back to the counter. She's not back. She's not at the counter anymore. The other girl has filled in. And she came from out back. And you would have thought, like, she had just got into a fight with somebody. Her hair was but I think it's because she took her little thing off. But her hair was a little, and her mood was completely different. She was down. And, like, you know, just like, but you could tell they said something to her because she had the, like the I blew it look. The I blew it expression. So, knowing that took place, the guy, he ended up taking my order, and he was talking where I couldn't understand him. That's also a mockery, you know, because we're able to understand every language, and that's part of the reason why Satanists microchip people in separated languages and they're jacking me up, and assigned them to assigned them to races and nationalities. So he's talking like where I really can't understand him. But, you know, we're making do. And so I'm like, oh, I thought the coffee was large. You know, with Starbucks, I always forget that their tall is like the small or something. So I questioned him about that or whatever. And I was like, no problem. But I asked him for a water with it to begin with. Told him it wasn't any problem. And I'm like, can I have the water though? Like, just the water would be good. And then he's like, yeah, okay, no, sure, or something. But he never, so I could go down here to the end. He gave me my coffee too. He made it a point to show me that he was leaning the coffee forward and giving me what was left in the end. You know, trying to let me know I'm getting the bottom of the barrel. That was the first thing. Then he handed it to me without a lid. So I go to the end, you know how they have their little pay and then get your thing or whatever. And I asked her for a lid. And I waited a little bit. You know, I waited around. She gave me the lid right away. I waited around. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to be getting that water, and I left. So a guy just walked by. He wasn't noticed. I noticed him, but I did not look up at him. When I don't look up at them, sometimes they do something to try and get me to look at them. So he goes, excuse me, but he wasn't talking to me. And then he comes right back. So he goes down on that side, comes back on my side. The same thing, I noticed the same thing when I was in the window at my place last night. There was a guy, out of nowhere, young black guy, in red and black, walked up the street on one side and came back down the street on my side of the street. No destination. Had no destination at all. Okay, so check this out. Like I said, the planet's been occupied by aliens. Their way is made by the government. Because the planet is occupied by aliens, and I'm the one that they warned of, because I'm the one that they warned of, they always favored me my entire life until they were told otherwise. These are Satanists, extraterrestrials, or ETs, demons. These are demon spirits. There's nothing loving about them. And they are only pleased when they feel that they're fooling you. And that's even in the grumpy relationships. Even though he may act grumpy, he's pleased. And he stays because he's fooling you. So anyhow, they're flashing images of white people, Caucasian people. It doesn't apply to them. That doesn't apply to them. Because they're a created race. Anyhow. Okay, so anyhow, I was saying that they're aliens. And you know they're not pleased unless they're fooling you. They were flashing images of white people. And I was ignoring it, and I was saying that it didn't apply to them. But it does. Matter of fact, I'm going to stay away from that statement right now. I'm going to stay away from it right now. So she said I'm trying to get her ass to realize that these people know exactly who they are. I mean, who she is. Yeah, I get that. I see that. The created racist thing. Not the created racist thing. That's not where I was going with it. She is losing her motherfucking mind. she's losing her mind, and I can tell she's really bothered by me sitting here. But so they obey. They're nice. They're helpful, and they're, you know, decent with me until it was time. This entire time they've been waiting on their moment to see whether or not they would be accepted by me, and they are not. Created races are not. But like I said, I'm the only one that can deal with this in a humane way. Aliens are in violation by being on this planet. I know a lot of white people, and a few, you know, other races and stuff like that. But these misplaced spirits are different from aliens. Now check this out though. Here's something real disturbing, and it's kind of something that I've been kind of contemplating on it, but it's an incomplete concept. That's if, as I was looking at the mind, you know how we have the conscious mind, how we have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then the unconscious mind. That conscious mind is fed by the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is fed by the unconscious mind. These are all the things that make us up. You're starting from within and out. So they don't have a they don't have souls. They only exist as a spirit. Demon spirits, like they're owned by demons. So with that being said, the spirit is being shaped. That subconscious mind is being shaped. You know what that means? That's almost like a robot in flesh. It's almost like a robot in flesh, and it's so disturbing, and I really want to think this out more. I want to think it through so that I'm like dead on with it, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's either yay or nay. See the sabotage? This is the type of stuff they do to my shoes. That's the part that I forgot to mention. I don't know how many people recall, but it might have started last year, because that's the first Veterans Day that I didn't really get to make my rounds. Or the year before that, possibly. But Starbucks used to didn't celebrate. And you know, they're on a lot of military bases, and they're also big overseas. Them and the bean, green bean, I think it's green bean, mean bean, something like that, a bean one. Big overseas. So with all the money that soldiers dumped into them, you know, I kind of like, I just don't drink coffee that much. But yeah, I thought I had a problem with that. I had a problem with that for sure, that they didn't support the troops that were dumping all their money into them. And now all of a sudden, you know, you can get a free coffee on Veterans Day. She's just running back and forth. After I left Starbucks, I was heading in that direction, and I actually started to turn around. There was a guy pulling in a white 300, and he stopped at the door first, then he pulled around and parked, and he waited on him to open. I walked, checked the time on the door, then I went over to the PetSmart. I come back after I leave Big Lots, and he was inside. When I entered, I saw him to my left, but they were talking about him before I got in, about they wanted me to look at them in these other places. So he was put together. It was like the devil made up, but you can tell it's the devil. Keisha's would have loved him. I'm talking about y'all would have lost y'all mind. So anyhow, I go and I use the bathroom. And they got mad because of my reaction. And they like, I don't know how they did it, but for physics and cloning, they made my period come like drip. My period never does that. Like, it's never dripped. So it rolls down my thigh. I catch it before it hits my pant. I catch it before it hits my pant. And they did the same thing on the other side. I caught it like way before it even got near my pants. So anyhow, I'm done now and I'm up, but I keep feeling this wet sensation. They put drops of the blood on the leg of my pant. So I mean, like, the sensation, the feeling of it didn't get strong until I left out. Like, I've exited the bathroom, but I'm only a few steps out because I'm still paying attention to this sensation as it grows stronger and stronger, more present. So now I'm like, I bend down and I rub it, and sure enough, you know, I'm like, no the fuck y'all didn't. Like, so I go back in and I put some water on it and stuff, and then I come back out. It's not noticeable, so it's not like a big deal. But as soon as I got to Olive Garden, they were talking about how they did that. The girl was looking at me like that because she's seen me just survive what they do to ruin women. The guy at Books A Million is gone. Left when I left, just like that. I'm sleepy. Oh, I need to use lip gloss. So anyhow, when I get to Olive Garden, they're talking about how I survived something. That's normally how they destroy females and, you know, stuff like that. And I'm like, nothing really. The female is being really pleasant. Like, they told me that you have to eat it, that I have to eat in there. They weren't letting people do it to go this year. So I get this. I go and I have a seat, and when she comes, she's being like really pleasant, and I'm like, you know what? Can I just have it to go instead? And she's like, yeah, you know, I mean, like, we're not really supposed to, but sure, no problem. And but during our first encounter, her demon showed. So even though she was being nice and pleasant, she did the snarl, you know, like the it frowned at me. So she goes and she, you know, does it. She's like, okay, I'll just, instead of plating it, I'll put it right in the box to go. And I'm like, great. So she leaves and then she comes back and she's like, you know what? There's going to be bread in your bag to go, but here's some bread, you know, like just in case you want it while you wait. So I'm like, oh great, I like bread. I'm like, I like bread. So I start snacking on the bread, but I keep getting this like, eat the bread, don't eat the bread, eat the bread, don't eat the bread. But I couldn't really stomach the bread. I'm talking about after the first breadstick, I could barely finish the first breadstick. So, and it's something else that I had to keep correcting myself on, that they were trying to encourage me to do unconsciously, is keep the breadstick at my mouth. I'm like, what in the... Take a bite and it's there. So anyhow, oh, my battery's dying. Oh, I'm not gonna have any bullet. I'm not gonna be able to shoot. Okay, so anyhow, I go in though for like this second piece of bread, and she's like, she comes out right around the same time, and she's like, you know what? Here's your stuff. She was like, but you know, bread's in the oven. If you want to wait just 2 more minutes, I'll bring you some out. I was like, okay. So I pull out this other stick of bread and it's fucking hair on it. I got mad as fuck. I took it, set it on top. That's what you just saw. Took it and set it on top where the hair was visible, and you know, just grabbed my bag and left. I was gonna tell her bye on my way out, and it was, the worst part is I was feeling bad because she was being so pleasant even after I seen her demons. But I hate not being able to tip people. I hate not being able to tell people. So I suppose they had a problem with that. Shit, for all I know, those surveillance and telekinesis, the down piece of hair on the bread. There was a guy there. He kept like wandering around. Nobody's looking. Nobody's paying attention. He's wandering around like just kind of zombie-like. And so I'm like, he must be trying to get my attention or see if I noticed him. Elder with glasses. So I look, when he walks by this time, I catch him like standing over there, and I'm looking at him like, and he won't look, and he went like this. And took off. He was like, he was trying to get a good look. But he walked by me so many times. Oh, that's why he kept walking by and switching him out. Okay. So it's 2:23. It just turned 2:23. The bus is supposed to be there at that stop that I go to at 2:23. This is the second time they've had it pass me. Damn, I gotta tell. So I was at the transit and I was waiting on my bus to come. One of the bus drivers walked by that always kind of like makes faces at me. Matter of fact, I don't think I talked about him. I didn't. About what happened. Like one of the more recent times that I saw him. Last time I was at the mall and I was making that video about, you know, people hallucinating and, you know, what that was and what it was not. That was the day that that was like one of the most recent times that I saw him. Got off the bus. He said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to the mall." He said, "Give me something, or give me some money." I said, "Give me some money." It was $5. He said, "Give me $5." I said, "No, give me $5." And he said, "I did talk about this." See, as I start to tell the details, I'm like, yep, said that before. So anyhow, I see him today. He was walking and he kind of went like this. And I said, right in front of his face, in slow motion. But in my mind, it wasn't a joke. In my mind, I hit him hard. And that's what they were kind of talking about. They were talking about how he doesn't act like me. I mean, act with me like the others do. You know, he just kind of... And so they were shocked that I responded that way, and they're saying that, you know, so not only does he know I'm Christ's mother, but he knows that how I see him now. That he knows how I see him. They knows how I see evil spirits. I mean, after I did it, I was like, you know, and he just kept on going. He said it wouldn't have hurt. But they started talking about it. They said that shit is starting to set in, and they've been going on and on about it. So anyhow, the last two buses, they said he gonna leave you, he gonna leave you, and he gonna leave you. So whoever is jumping around on the drivers in Metro will be like, she's riding the bus today, and it'll be pop up. Sometimes it's others. Anyhow, I don't want to get into any of that, but anyhow, I suppose I offended him. Them. And yeah, the last 2 buses they sent early so that I wouldn't make it. The earliest I go out is 3-4 minutes. But when I saw it, I couldn't believe it because they know that I'm pressed for time. Like, I'm trying to get to all these locations. And them seeing how the first few locations that I went to are processing the information and, you know, my presence and seeing what I look like, they're like, no, something got to give. So she going to have to pick 1 or 2 sides of town. And they know I want Fridays. And they're trying to keep me out of Fairlawn. She said Fairlawn's where her dad work at. Her dad's about to work at. We gotta telekinesis. Their memories. They were talking about telekinesis and people's memories a lot today. That means putting the image of the Holy Spirit, myself, back in people's minds. I'm the one they warned them of. It's odd though, because see, I was home by 1:45, or at home at 1:45, ready to leave back out, and that's what happened. Insane. They just ate my fucking. It's early again. About 3-4 minutes. Okay, I told you that they didn't want me to come out to Fairlawn, and I came out here, and they made it rain. These shoes, as you saw, they have holes on the bottom, so my feet, the entire bottom of my feet is wet. And the top is soaked, but they're freezing the bottom of my feet. Like they're applying real cold fucking, they're freezing the bottom of my feet. It's not cold out. Like the temperature isn't low or that low. Not as cold as they're making my feet. Pretty much like the same thing they did the last time. Not the last time I was out here, but it would have been last winter, I believe. It was last winter that they pulled that stunt. I was out here and hadn't been in any snow or anything, and they were freezing my toes. They were trying to give me frostbite on my toe. I don't know how to. There's a video out there on YouTube about it. They're trying to dry it up and blend it in. Okay, so recall the days when you could just walk into a store, like a convenience store or something. Right now I'm at Michael's. But when you could walk into a store, especially like a big chain like Walmart or something, and you can ask for something as simple as a pair of socks, you know, back when things were still a bit more humane. You could go and be like, hey, you know, I got caught on the way, my feet are soaked, like, could I please get a pair of, just a switch of socks, you know, do you have some, like a busted bag or anything in the back? They give you a pair of socks. These fucking days, money rules everything. Like, if you cannot afford what you need, you're fucked. If you cannot afford what you need, you're fucked. So, yeah, chances of walking into anywhere and getting someone to like legitimately help you out aren't going to happen because it's Satan's rule right now. And they tweaked and torqued things down that tight for a reason, so that it became a mindset and a behavior. Second thing is, I really like these pens. These ones right here. Like, that's the really, really, really small ones that I've been looking for. I hadn't seen them anywhere. So say something like that. If I were to steal those pens, yes, there's eyes in the sky, but there's no one's manning the camera. No one's manning the camera. We're in a time where they don't rely on the cameras anyhow. When something goes down, they don't check surveillance. You know, they're being told exactly who's doing what. If I try to walk out with them pens, they drop a bug, and I get stopped at the door. Ain't nobody seen me do nothing. Ain't nobody watched or, you know, physically observed anything. And they bust me. On the inside of Michael's, one of the employees just came out, not for nothing, but to get a buggy. And he grabbed the buggy, looked back, took an inventory of me, and went inside. When I came in Michael's, my toes were fine. I walked out, and my middle toe on the left foot is now, they're trying to, they have it like tensed up and, not cramped, tensed up and stiff, kind of, to support suggestions of, it's raining. It's raining. Like, I don't know what the fuck these stupid ass aliens think. Like, it's retarded. And it's all because I said what I said in there about a pair of socks. They said they called me out my name. They called me that demon that I was talking to y'all about. They called me her name. They called me her name. And said that we put such and such on these people's radar that don't like people telling on them. I ain't told nothing on them. All I'm talking about is the times. And I think he mad because I ain't steal the pens, because he wanted to steal some motherfucking DNA. Okay, to give you another example of how they manipulate reality. While I was back there, after I left Olive Garden, they were saying, you know, we told her that we was going to be picking her up at this other, we told them that we were going to be picking her up at this other place. And I'm like, what in the, you know, are y'all talking about? And like, don't try, you know, this is that is this. All my days are spent alone. You know, I don't get no calls, I don't make no calls. Today is exception to that, you know, to the norm. So anyhow, there was a guy on the bus on the way here, and we just picked him up about a few stops back. And he has a similar stature. Like, if you look at him from a distance, you think he resembles my dad. They've been, so they have us walk on the bus and arrange the damn, you know what I'm saying, like, to where it looks like it's just us two in the damn car. That is not, that's how you manipulate reality. That's not taking place.
That's a good job. Like you already said, they pay for the relocation, they pay for the transportation, they pay for the house, like you get a meal.
This is one of the imposters they remade.
That's like a lot.
They remade this guy. Like, he don't even know his own identity. And he don't know that I ever called him.
I know that because I'm one. Like, I'll stay on the job for like 8 weeks. I'll get bored. I'll quit. And I'll go get another job. And I might not work for a month.
Okay, I'm at Fridays. I got here. When I sat down, I said, facing the back. Like where they have a little register and stuff. And one of the females said, no, I don't want her to sit that way because something, something, something. I didn't catch the last part of what she said. So she said, I need you to look at people like they're supposed to be in. No, ain't nobody in the same vibrational frequency as me. I'm in a category of my own, and so is my bloodline. So the guy comes and he's like real suave, like, and his appearance doesn't match, you know, like his confidence and his physique and his overall look doesn't add up to this confidence and kind of suave. Is suave a word? That's not the word I just used, but his demeanor. So he's like, you know, like, hey, yeah, hey, you know, like smiling and stuff, and like got his legs crossed and his arm up. And I'm like, you know, being polite and like, you know, going along with the conversation, or not the conversation, but you know, like trying to get. And he's like, you want a drink? I'm like, but are the drinks extra? And he's like, yeah. I asked if they were included. He said no. And he said, I said, well, he said, well, water. I said, yeah. He said, no, I'll give you a drink. And he goes, what do you want? And I told him I said a Pepsi. He said, so Coke, okay. You know, like just real flirty. One of the guys that shows up, when he shows up, he always does this like real, he comes on to me like kind of strong. After they did that, one of the females got mad. One of the female agents, she was talking about it. She said, no, because he always do that shit every time we see her, or whenever he show up, and something else. So they were like switching him out, and they were talking about how he was going to be different when he came back. When he came back, like the person I'm talking about, he was running laps. He's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They had him walking back and forth, walking back and forth. I'm talking about 5-8 times, looking real embarrassed. And then this other guy shows up again, and he's like, you know, back able to talk to me. They'll switch him out. He's back embarrassed, back embarrassed, back embarrassed. And then he'll show up like, hey. And it's like, so recall I said that they switched them out. Trying to get him where you can really kind of see my face. Anyhow, they switched them out. Okay, so yeah, they switched them out. When they switched them out, they'll repeat the same thing they just said a second ago. Like they'll keep lapping the same insult, the same running over the same past event, you know, trying to get you to like keep repeating and like get into this will of it's a special kind of retarded. But that's because they're switching them out. So they're trying to get like, they'll want them to hear, I'm Christ's mother, and then they'll switching. Antagonize me until, you know, they get me to say it again. I'm Christ's mother. You already know who I am. You know, like, and that'll go on over and over and over again. That's just on a small scale, like a small statement like that. We're talking about like what I said 10 minutes ago in there. 10, 15 minutes ago in there. What I said, they'll keep playing the event back. So they'll press play, they'll begin to play, and they'll stop and they'll say something about that part of the scene, see how much of it I recall because they've attempted to erase it, and then play some more, stop, and probe, trying to get you to contradict yourself or find some sort of flaw in your thought. In mine, there isn't none. I told you I could produce thoughts free of error. They're healthy. Imagine that. Everywhere I've gone today where I had to sit in, I've made mention on more than one occasion while there that I hated that I didn't have any money to tip, and that's why I wanted to be able to get it to go. So that statement, it creates understanding. They switch these people out and then leave somebody under another suggestion. So, who's ever in the body right now think that I'm just a crappy something. Yeah. So they told a lie about how about when I see this, when I take notice of this on someone's shoe, it's always pity and shame, like that's it. So they did it. They took my shoe and did this and put it back. And I've been wearing it not knowing, like I seen this part, but I didn't think that it looked like this from the back. I didn't think that it looked like that horrible scene. So they did it to embarrass me. And I've been walking around these shoes like all summer like this. But furthermore, I don't have money and I don't have shoes. She's here. I suppose her and him fell out again. And she wants her and her son's stuff. She was telling him to come home and let her in so that she could grab it. And I guess he won't. He keeps saying wait till tomorrow. So her mom was trying to talk her out of it. And she wasn't having it. She said she was going to bust this window out, so she broke some stuff on the side of the house. And then she broke in, and she's yelling at them to come and help her. She has, like, a passenger. And she has, like, her mom. And neither one of them went in. Okay, I told you I haven't been asleep. Like, they've kept me up for like 6 days straight. They've been giving the clone crack or cocaine, something like that. I just got in about 10 from a 16-hour day. I left at 7 a.m. and got back at like I said, 10. So 15-hour day. It was Veterans Day, so I was ripping and running. I was on the bus literally all fucking day long, off no sleep. And not just off no sleep from last night. I'm talking about off no sleep from days. So I was about to call Akron Police Department and ask for a transport to General Hospital so that I can have them test my urine. It's been dark. But how they tried to manipulate reality just now is they had the cops across the street. I kept hearing, the girl just was over there. Y'all saw the video about that. She broke something. And they were over there. I could have caught them if I'd known they were outside, but they were taking off. So here goes.
You have reached the Akron Police and Fire Department. If you have a life-threatening emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Otherwise, listen to the following options. If you need a police officer or to make a police report, press 1. If you need arrest, bond, or ticket information, press 2. If you need towed vehicle information, press 3. If you need Akron Fire Department information, press 4. For the Akron Detective Bureau, press 5. If you need the police record room, press 6. For the Police Patrol Bureau, press 7. For police traffic, press 8. Any other police information that you do not hear an option for, please press 9.
Hopefully it goes to the operator. Anyhow, I told you they've been manipulating reality too. Part of the reason that they're not allowing me to upload to YouTube is because of the suggestions that they have people under. They also have the police department under suggestion.
Or to make a police report, press 1. If you need arrest, bond, or ticket information, press 2. If you need towed vehicle information, press 3. If Fire Department information, press 4. For the Akron Detective Bureau, press 5. If you need the police record room, press 6.
It's fucking.
Akron Police and Fire is there.
Yes, hi. Would your officers give me a transport to General Hospital?
What's going on? What's the matter?
I just need to go and have my urine tested.
We don't usually do that. We can send a med unit out to you, but there's no guarantee that the hospital will allow them to transport you. It's up to the hospital whether or not your condition is serious enough to be transported.
Okay, you said you can send a med unit out. What is that process normally like?
We call the fire department and they send a med unit out to you, like an ambulance.
And they'll just do it right here on site?
I don't know if they can do a test like that on site. I think that that's something, because it has to go to a lab. So you'll probably have to go to the hospital, but like I said, I can't guarantee that they'll be able to transport you.
Right.
Because if it's not, you would need to call the hospital and ask them if that's something that they would approve a transport for.
Okay, thank you.
Because we have to call the hospital and ask them if they can transport you. It's up to, it's their decision whether or not we can take you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not willing to
Otherwise,
ride.
you have to drive yourself.
Yeah, and I'm not willing to drive. Well, I don't have a vehicle, and I'm not willing to ride in the back of an ambulance. That's kind of why I was asking, but thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. So when I got in, I was completely exhausted. Like I didn't even finish my salad. I jumped in the shower and I laid down and I went right into sleep. No sooner than I go to sleep, they give me a shot in my foot, and next thing I know, I'm wide awake. I'm laying on the floor, wide awake. I'm going to get my motherfucking piss tested tomorrow. I'm tired of this shit. Okay, it's 3 a.m. They're pulling their fucking stunt again with keeping me up. I was going to go to a hospital in Canton in the morning and have my urine tested. But that kind of goes against everything that I said. I'm just mad as fuck right now. Like, I'm angrier than fuck. I want to tear everything up. What I have here is urine. I talked about this in another video. It's clearly dirty. You can tell that the piss is dirty. Something's been done to it. And it has debris and it's starting to ferment on the inside. I was going to warm this, put it in a thermos, and take it in and have it tested because I know it's bound to come back dirty. However, something that you have to keep in mind with dealing with these sorts of covert professionals is I'm already on their radar. Some things that they've been talking about tonight is that they were going to have SUMA show up, that they were going to, which is the hospital here in Akron. You know, some of the, I never went to the hospital before this shit started happening. And I haven't been since they snaked me last year and conspired against me. But they were talking about having the doctors from SUMA show up in Canton, because you know how that works already. These are just bodies that they own. You know, they hop in and out. They use whichever identity they want. So they were going to have them show up, and they were going to have them snake me. They were going to, they said it was going to go one of two ways. Either they were going to manipulate the results to show that nothing was wrong with this dirty pee, or they were going to manipulate it, or they were going to have so much show up in it that they were going to put me in detox, which would support their suggestions. I told you right now, during this time for about the last 3 or 4 weeks straight, they've been making suggestions that 2018's events are taking place right now in 2019. So they've been trying to do things to get, you know, the situation to align, but they don't have any footage of me in nor near a hospital. Okay, something that is necessary to know. This started when I stopped having a glass of wine. Like, I was having a glass of wine almost every day. Like, this month I had a glass of wine up until the 9th of November. It started then, this whole no sleep thing. I talk about it in another video. I just want to make sure I'm not repeating myself. Let me make sure real quick. Let me think. Okay, I talked about it, but I talked about it in great detail. And for the sake of time in this video being short, I'm going to reiterate. But first I want to show you. This is my end of the month roll up. At the very bottom, the last line is like alcohol or energy drinks. As you can see, the activity stopped around the 9th of November, and it's been a problem ever since. It's documented in the videos. This is the last of the videos that you'll see on it. Yeah, covert professionals are an absolute problem. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to go and get this documented and then take it into the police department and show that I'm being drugged. Someone that does, I don't do drugs, and I'm being drugged. When I wake up in the morning, I wake up poisoned. As long as I was having a glass of wine, they weren't doing it. And mind you, I don't have any money. So that box of wine that I stole, like, I just got it not too long ago. So, yeah, they're manipulating the fuck out of reality. And for more information and more into my roll-ups, you can find these on my Twitter. I keep a lot of information on them. Right now, I'm working on a PowerPoint presentation. It's for my feature video, and it just goes over my content, like, you know, what my content encompasses. A breakdown of like some of the things that are in the complaint. I go into them a little bit deeper in the PowerPoint. But anyhow, I've been trying to sleep since a little bit after 10, and it's 3. It's really unfortunate that I can't do a divine disclosure sort of ordeal, because what you get to see in divine disclosure is events and scenarios as they play out day by day. So something that I might mention today, you know, you get to see it, you know, the claim versus the execution, you know. So if they say they're going to do something today, you'll see 3 days later I'm talking about something that was done that they claimed they were going to do 3 days ago. There's a lot of things taking place right now at the library. There's a lot of stalking going on. They have people show up there on a regular. And I've captured, like, that's one of the reasons too I'm having so much problems and interference with uploads, is because I have a lot of identities that'll be exposed as a result. The people in the neighborhood, they're manipulating these situations in the neighborhood, you know, like with the people. Like, for example, there's a girl over there with 3 kids. To one viewer, they're telling someone that I'm that. And then there's a guy over here that has a girlfriend. Him and her get into it all the time. Or not all the time, but you know, they get into it. And they're claiming that's me. Over there busting out windows and stuff. That's why they were swelling my lip. Because he's hit her in her lip on more than one occasion. That's crazy as hell. I don't go for no stuff like that. But that's the type of stuff that they're suggesting. All kind of stuff. Hold on. As a matter of fact, I was journaling about some of that stuff tonight. Like, some of the things that they were saying. I told you they program people real time, and they're allowing me to hear it. They're allowing me to hear exactly what they're suggesting to these imposters. And it's in, you know, okay, I started not to, but I'm going to name a few. Some of the things that they were talking about tonight, they were talking about my cousin and, you know, me being the only one that found something wrong with his teeth, his appearance when I saw him again. Others, you know, like my relatives, they were all possessed, you know, during that time. So they thought nothing of it. It matched up with the image they were seeing in parallel reality. So I'm the only one that, you know, was alarmed by it. Do you see how they're making my face look like fatter? Well, from the first video, like the introduction to this video, it'll be different. Like, my face has changed 3 times today, or since yesterday, all to support suggestions. It's dimensional sabotage. Argument with government. Teeth. Ronnie hindering my uncle's life. They're talking about some activity with George's granddaughter. The absent-mindedness at the library. They were talking about how they have police officers there for no reason because they're like the librarians, pay attention to nothing and notice nothing. When they were talking about that, you know, I was imagining myself at the desk, you know, just the things that I notice, that I take notice of, you know, when these people come and go. I made another video on that. Okay, I did. I talked about it in this video. Can you see that? Kind of, but not really. It's a 3-minute video. I'll share it at some other time. But it has imposters walking into the library on it. You know, and I was talking about how anyhow, the things that I take notice of everything, you know, like I take notice that, you know, as soon as this particular person shows up, this particular female, you know, a group of men show up behind her. Either they come in just shortly after her or they come in behind her. And when they sit near her, she moves, you know, and that they kind of walk around and they look for her before they seat themselves. You know, that's just all obvious stuff. They're only there when I'm there. Like, there's one guy that recently started coming, and two, a black and a white guy, and they hang out there all day, you know, like, but I'm the reason. They're just waiting on me to show up. They're talking about the neighbor downstairs. They've been calling him security. They're saying that they don't, like, how they know I haven't been anywhere today specifically, and how they have them pretend, or how they pretend when they show up, that they hear people in my place, which is a lie. They know I never have company. Short sleep. Oh, okay. You know, it's real unfortunate because it's so much that surrounds these events, like something like me being kept up at night. There's so much surrounding this. The reason they're keeping me up, I think I'm pretty sure I covered it in another video, but the reason that they're keeping me up is so that my clones can sleep. They keep while they keep me up because my dreams are a telltale, like a dead giveaway of who I am. And when they're trying to convince other agents to make these attacks, they don't want them to know who I am. But that's bullshit, because they have access to everything they have access to. So there's remote neural monitoring. You know, when they're making these suggestions, there's an entire script that's being displayed of my internal combat. So it's just a game that they play amongst one another. So yeah, my dreams are a dead giveaway. By having the clone sleep, I told you the clone serves as a possessed individual. They're able to program it no different than they would program any other thing, you know, any other that they have running the streets. So with that clone, they're able to program it and manipulate the sort of dreams that it has. And with those dreams, they're doing a lot of filthy things and suggesting that I'm doing something else and that I'm someone completely different. Okay, but back to this whole men thing at the library. They ran out of identities to lie about they ran out of identities to use to have sex with the clone. They ran out of identities to use. This supports dimension sabotage because they're using lower dimensional spiritual filth. The identities that they're using is lower dimensional spiritual filth. So these guys that they have come into the library, they'll make suggestions, you know, when they come in, like, we've given you options, you know, here's your choices. Like, you can pick from this group of guys. And I shut it down. And they don't allow anyone to see me combating this. Then later on that night, or, you know, even sometimes while I'm there, they're allowing these people to have sex with the clone. So the whole point in them showing up in the same location that I'm at is to pretend that they're in the same place. You know, it gives them, us being in the same spot creates a situation that can be manipulated for parallel reality. And this is how the agents are faking having, you know. See, that's the part I didn't want to get into because it needs to be handled with care. Like, I have so many details surrounding it. And if you hear it like ABC, it makes sense. But how I just said it, no, only stupid motherfuckers gonna act like they don't get it. Some other things that they're saying, they're faking like they don't know who I am. One of the girls would go, I'm so scared that this girl is really Price's mother. And then she said, I don't care what y'all say. I'm not putting her ass in the same position. Oh, no, this was a guy. He said, I don't care what y'all say. I'm putting her ass in the same position as Dr. Umar. He said Dr. Umar to throw things off. He was talking about Dr. Joseph Ben-Yakin. And that's a nursing home reference. We hurt so many people. They didn't complete that sentence. Quickly try to turn. She put so much energy into that complaint that's another incomplete thought. They stopped because of the way that I was combating it. She's going to kill us. Yes, I am. Physics, they were making my pillow hard and the bone in my hand stick out, like stand out against the bone in my face. So anyhow, yeah, I'm not going to the hospital, but I really, really, really contemplated going. I get so fucking mad when this happens that I contemplate just picking up and going right now. I even started to go to general. And right now they're talking about how I'm about to go viral. I told you before in other videos that when they mention going viral to me, they're implying that they're about to switch out the imposters. That's all they're doing. It doesn't have anything to do with the internet. It doesn't have anything to do with recognition, you know, or the word or the story getting out. They are putting someone else in place in these bodies. They're housing the bodies with new imposters under new suggestions. But there will be a news presence soon.